Every election season, Nigerians ask the same question. Can we trust INEC to deliver a fair result? The answer, unfortunately, is never straightforward. Not because the commission is always incompetent, but because its independence is fundamentally compromised from the start. Under the current system, the president appoints the INEC chairman, subject to Senate approval. That means the very person contesting for re-election has the power to choose the referee. No matter how impartial the commission may try to be, this arrangement taints public confidence. Nigerians are left wondering whether INEC is an umpire or a pawn. In a democracy, perception is reality, and this perception undermines our electoral system. We have seen this pattern repeatedly. Opposition parties claim foul before ballots are even printed. Civil society organizations question the neutrality of the commission, and ordinary citizens, already disillusioned, stay home on election day. Democracy cannot thrive on suspicion. If we are serious about reform, the first step is clear. Take the appointment of the INEC chairman out of the president's hands. Imagine a process led by a broad-based, non-partisan selection committee that evaluates civil society leaders, professional associations, faith-based groups, working together to nominate credible candidates, leaving the Senate to transparently confirm them. This approach will be fairer than the current system. Reform should not end there. The INEC chairman must have real security of tenure, removable only through a transparent and bipartisan process. The commission itself should be financially independent, drawing its budgets directly from the Consolidated Revenue Fund, free from executive interference. These are not radical ideas. They are essential for democracy. Nigeria cannot keep risking the legitimacy of its elections. A credible electoral body is the backbone of any democracy, and credibility begins with independence. Until we change how the INEC chairman is appointed, every election will carry a shadow of doubt. The decision is clear. Stick with a system that fosters suspicion, or pursue reforms that give Nigerians confidence that their votes truly matter. If we want democracy to survive, we must choose the latter.
There is nowhere in the world where civil societies, faith-based groups, or professional associations are responsible for selecting electoral commissioners.
Okay.
In the UK, it is appointed, in the US, appointed by the president.
Okay.
But with nominations from the leading parties. In the UK, it is appointed by the monarchy, but nominated by the leading parties. In Nigeria, the president appoints all 9 of them, 6 from each geopolitical zone, and then 3, the executive, and then 2 EVCs. Nigeria's situation is kind of peculiar, because let's say you tell people, okay, I am very much for political parties nominating them. By the end of the day, someone still needs to select who is going to lead them. But the question arises when there is no representation from each of the geopolitical zones. Because someone would now come and say, we are being marginalized. We don't have a representation at the Electoral Commission. So, but yes, I agree with you on the need to have tenure security. The fact that no president can come and say, oh, you have to go at this point. I don't know what the current tenure system is for the INEC commissioners, but if that is not applicable,
It's 5 years still.
It's 5 years tenure, and they can only be removed how?
By the president.
By the president. Okay, so not like there's infractions that must have been must have happened. So yes, I don't think civil society or religious, because they are not even invested in the process.
No, you can't say that civil society organizations are not invested in elections, because one of the reasons, I allowed you to speak, one of the reasons you see credible, at least some form of credibility in an electoral process is the work that civil society organizations contribute into it.
Yeah.
So if you talk about continuous voters registration, for example, the INEC really doesn't have budget for that.
Yeah.
Civil society organizations champion that.
Yeah.
When you talk about monitoring elections, INEC doesn't have all the resources and the funding to also ensure that elections are monitored credibly across the country. Civil society organizations do that. So civil society organizations are critical in elections. And for the peculiarity of our country, the nature, right? You see, you've mentioned America, you mentioned UK, and how the processes are all done. In Nigeria, we want to feel among because we know we don't trust our leaders. And again, there are no institutions that check these people when we put them there. So it is just as easy as, okay, the president nominates somebody and says, listen, you do my bidding, and if you don't, I'll send the security architecture after you, anti-corruption agencies after you, and that's it.
By the way, who appointed the INEC commissioner when Gage lost the election?
When what?
When Jonathan lost the election.
It was Jonathan.
There we go.
But it was the pressure of
there we go.
No. It was the pressure of the civil society organizations to ensure, yes, that was what happened. So Jonathan was scared that if he appoints, there was pressure on him to sack Jega.
Yeah.
Serious pressure. Civil society was like, no, you can't sack Jega. You have to maintain it because of credible elections.
The president does not have absolute power to appoint the electorate chair,
to the Senate.
all right? Because even when he nominates, the Senate has to approve. That's number one. And it's the same thing in Ghana. There, the chair of the Electoral Commission is appointed by the president, but only on the advice of the Council of States. In Mexico, the president has no role. How? The National Electoral Institute, right, has its general council, whose president or chair is elected by 2/3 majority vote to the Chamber of Deputies. So there are different ways we can approach this, yeah? If we look at India as well, they also have a peculiar one. You look at even Canada, you mentioned UK. But at the end of the day, where did we get our presidential system of governance from? The US. Why are we not electing those who govern us based on that system? Because they have an electoral college. They have checks and balances along the way, such that at the end of the day, the elections are close to credible.
Okay, so we got our presidential system that we are running from the US, but the British colonized us.
Confusion everywhere.
Confusion. Listen, we misbehave because the rule of law in Nigeria is being ruled by individuals. And when individuals are above the law, the land becomes unproductive and the people becomes lawless. So INEC independence is dependent on individuals' independence.
I need a gavel, right?
Do you understand?
You know?
So until we see ourselves as a people kind to each other, it does not matter who appoints you. You will know that your vision is to make people happy, not to make your boss happy, because your boss can be selfish.
That's quite interesting, and thank you for putting it that way, but I'm going to relate his advocacy to your advocacy from last week, the one on Yaga, right?
Yes,
and IPC.
Yaga, yes.
And their recommendations, you mentioned that 5 of them stood out, and of those 5, there was still INEC independence.
Yes,
right?
Indeed.
And for a lot of people to come out to be saying the same thing, I don't think we can say we don't know what we are saying, right? As much as you said something around, people would then say, oh, it's not coming from my part or it's not coming from this part. The consecutive INEC chairman, where have they come from? Has anybody even if that conversation came up, I don't think it has been in full proportion to say, oh, it has to be an Igbo person or it has to be someone from the South or something. We just want credible elections. And I like what you said regarding just ensuring that individuals are able to also stand up, because again, forgive me, it's the states that I know of that I will speak of, right? The fact that we have a Governor Oti today is because of one woman, right? So that situation can happen also if you adopt this kind of system that he is talking about, whereby you have different voices, you have different stakeholders. So if you are able to say you are buying 3 of the stakeholders, are you going to buy all the people that he's spoken about? Then you can begin to have those conversations and people can come up to say, no, this is not right. This is what we want to do. So I believe that we need a system, right, I like that we've all mentioned different countries and how it is done. We can take a leaf from what they do, but bring it back home and look at our peculiarity. Because as much as you have to look at what people have done before, sometimes I believe that we have brains as well. We should know what should work for us as a people. The fact that it's working for US doesn't mean that it has to work for us.
Thank you.
Nation building requires a level of sincerity and commitment, or else it's showmanship. I'll say it again. Democracy cannot thrive on suspicion.
Matt, I'm with you on this. I'm one for addressing issues head on. Time to go beyond the jollof rice and banter.